Okay, guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to have a few tips for you to help you care for your basic vacuum. And this goes, honestly, it can go from a Bissell Hoover vacuum that's under $100 all the way up to, the $3,500 vacuums, the Rainbows and the Kirby's and all the other brands that you can buy at all the different price ranges. The basic upkeep is the same, okay? So keep in mind, you just got a vacuum unboxer, you're going to plug it in, you're going to start using it, no big deal, right? Okay, but just keep in mind that every 3, 6 to 9 months, you should be changing your belt. Depends on how often you're using the vacuum, okay? Now, if you have a geared belt, like with the Shark vacuums, right? Those belts can kind of last a lot longer than the stretchy type of flat belt like these, okay? The fact that the belt is stretched out, okay, in order for it to stay on the roller brush and the shaft means that it's in a stretched position for all that time. So it's going to lose a lot of the tension, a lot of its elasticity, right? And the same thing goes for Kirby. Even these tiny little Kirby belts, they'll stretch out because it's on that hook and it's like this for a long period of time, all right? But the geared belts don't have any stretch to them, okay? The groove belts don't have any stretch. And there's another belt, Hoover and Bissell uses these belts. They're called flat belts, but it's not, obviously the belts are flat, right? But this particular belt is shiny on the outside, and it has kind of a fabric woven into the belt, okay? And so, I'm not sure why they didn't just call it a cloth belt. I think at one time they did. But anyway, those belts, you normally wouldn't have to really change them as often unless your machine got caught at the end of a rug or something, and the motor is still turning, and the brush isn't turning, so the belt is the one that starts to wear away, and you start to smell a little burnt rubber. Eventually, you're going to have to. Then you start hearing this rat-a-tat-a-tat-a-tat sound. That means that belt's time to go, okay? But so change your belt. Next, filters, okay? Normally, you're going to have 2 filters. You're going to have a motor filter, okay? Some motor filters are on top of the bin. Some of them are inside. Those filters, and then some are down below near the motor or hovering above the motor, okay? Those filters, you want to change those or clean them out as often as possible, okay? Because that's designed to protect your motor, because a lot of the times the suction is coming from the motor cavity and is going to hit the dust bin. It's going to create all that suction, that vacuum in there, and it's always trying to pull dirt into the motor. Okay? Because it's sucking, right? It's creating the vacuum. So the filter is there to stop all that debris and carpet fibers and hair from going into the motor. So if you don't clean that, you can strain your motor. You can get yourself in a position where the motor will just burn out. Hoover vacuums, the motor will just totally turn off on you, okay? Because it's overheating, all right? So check those filters. So if it's a Hoover, a Bissell, it's most likely at the top of the dustbin. Just kind of unscrew it. If it's a Shark, it's most likely sitting underneath your dustbin, like right above the motor. So check for that. You want to dust those out. I wouldn't wash them without dusting them out or vacuuming those filters, okay? Because what can happen is that if you just you see it looks dirty, you wash it, you may have a lot of dirt on the inside of the filter. And that water can kind of harden that dirt and make it kind of like a brick, okay? And it's probably give you a tougher time when it comes to vacuuming later on. Anyway, that's that. Brush. Now, there's 2. Let's say there are 2 types of brush, right? There's really 3 because you have metal. You have a metal brush with metal ends. Those are the commercial sanitaires. But for most homes that are using regular vacuums, you're going to have a plastic brush with plastic end caps. Or like a Kirby, you'll have a wooden brush with plastic end caps. I'm definitely a fan of the wooden brush, whichever company. Kenmore made wooden brushes. Electrolux make wooden brushes. Protein makes wooden brushes, and those brushes tend to last longer. The plastic on plastic needs more care and needs you to really focus on it. So let's focus on that brush right now. The plastic on plastic means that after friction builds up after a time, you don't know when it's going to hit you, but it definitely will. Eventually, it'll melt and it'll just seize up on the side and it'll break your belt. Okay? It'll just stop cleaning. And what happens is that hair or debris or carpet fibers will get inside the cap ends, okay, and get wound up in there. So we're focusing on the hair that's wrapping around the brush. So we, get our scissor and we cut away at it and everything, but then we forget about the ends, and it gets in the groove of the cap, and it'll just melt it, and you got to replace your brush. So do that. Now that's one reason to replace the brush. The other reason would be bristles. If you have one of those long-term vacuums, meaning that the average vacuum may last you about 3, 4, 5 years, but you have the Kirby's and you have the Electroluxes and you have the Ricars and all those vacuums. Those higher-end vacuums, they're designed to last you 20 or 30 years, all right? Believe it or not, okay? And those brushes just need to be changed over that period of time. 2 or 3 times you should be able to replace the brush because the bristles start to get smaller and smaller, okay? If you use it a lot, especially on hard floors, concrete or whatever, it's gonna burn the bristles, so you're gonna have to just change that brush anyway. Commercial vacuums, definitely be ready. If you're in the cleaning business, just make it a thing where it's a part of doing business. I gotta change my brush. If it's a sanitaire, you should be able to pull out the brush strips and put new ones in. Okay, so that's that. All right, and the last thing for caring for your vacuum, because everything else is just mishaps. You dropped it, something was defective. Those are all the other things, right? But I'm talking like care, stuff that you can manage and prevent, is cloggage. Okay, most vacuums that have those the hose that run down the side, that kind of goes underneath the nozzle. They call it internal hose for a lot of cleaners, like Dyson will call it an internal hose. Hey, it's a hose, right? But what it is that particular hose will get debris and carpet fibers and paper and toothpicks and things like that can cause like a jam, and everything after that will start backing up. So you want to periodically check your hose. If you have a shark, right in that handle, the handle that you're holding to push the shark, there's a hose attachment, there's a wand, and there's a hose. Right in that handle is where it's notorious for catching all the debris right up in top there. So you're looking in the hose for, clogs. You're looking down below for clogs, not realizing that the clog is in that little cut right there that you really can't see. So take your time. It's always best to just, sometimes, you know what you do? You drop it. If you have a hose and you're not sure if it's clogged, get a quarter, a marble, and just run it through the hose and see if it'll come out the other side. All right, but so to sum it up, belt, filters. Now, last thing about filters, I should have mentioned it before. I did mention there are 2 types of filters on a vacuum. You have the pre-motor filter, okay, it's protecting your motor, and the filter that's after the motor, the post-motor filter, which is to protect you from the carbon. Each vacuum, let me show you a motor. It's a dirty motor, but I'll show you a motor real quick. Okay, now take a look at this. Now, see all the dirt on this motor? Okay, that means that everything that's on this motor is really kind of being blown out into the air. Okay? Because the air is being pulled in, but the air also has to go somewhere. And there's a carbon brush here's an armature right there. And this thing here, I'm trying to get it to you, right up here, that's your carbon brush right there. And that carbon is like, just think of it like pencil lead. And it touches the armature is spinning. Without that, the electricity is not going to make everything turn. So that burns off. and when it burns off, it's black. So if you ever remove your the filter from the front of the, let's say it's a shark from the front, that HEPA filter with the paper, the stuff in a row, and if you look at the back, it's black. Reason why it's black, that's all the carbon. It's protecting your air, your environment in your house from what burns off from the motor. So that now I would probably change that out, a year and a half. That you don't get a whole big clog up of that motor the way you do the pre-motor filter. So anyway, that's that. So subscribe. if this video was edifying for you, please like the video, share it. I really enjoy doing these videos with you guys. The next one I'm working on a hose, central vacuum hose video, so hopefully I can get all the kinks worked out on this one and have it up. But until next time, guys, you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks. Bye.